Hello and welcome to Cornwall, and in this video I'm going to share with you 3 great locations in Cornwall to inspire your landscape photography. Why would you want to come and photograph Cornwall? Well, the question should be, why wouldn't you want to come and photograph Cornwall? Cornwall is one of the most amazing places in the UK for landscape photography, and it really inspires my landscape photography. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 locations that I've recently visited. Now, these aren't necessarily the greatest or the top 3 locations in Cornwall, but I think they are 3 locations that could inspire your landscape photography. Just one thing before we get onto our first location. If you do enjoy this video, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you do, or if you're already a subscriber, remember to click on that bell icon. That way you'll receive a notification as soon as I post up a new video. Also, stay tuned to the end of this video and I'll tell you how you can access a video on a bonus 4th location. With all that said, let's get on to our first location. Hello and welcome to Sandymouth Beach. Yes, that's right, I'm here at Sandymouth Beach on the North Devon coast, and as you can see behind me, it's a bit grey and overcast. But I was thinking, if I waited for the perfect conditions every time I wanted to photograph Cornwall, I'd probably never be in Cornwall. So this evening it's going to be very much about embracing that grey. So no trip to Cornwall would be complete without visiting one of its beaches, and I thought Sandymouth Beach would be an excellent place to come and photograph despite that grey weather there. So what is there to shoot? Well, there's plenty. So there's lots of rocks that run along the beach here that give you leading out lines towards the sea. They're probably better slightly at higher tide. I'm here when the tide's on its way out. So what's really going to catch my interest is I'm looking for patterns in the golden sand, lots of lines that have been created by the tide as it pulls out. And also as the tide pulls out, there's going to be, hopefully, going to create some tidal pools, maybe with some rocks in them. So that's what I'm going to try and go for. But I'm going to really just have to walk up and down. The thing with beaches is they change every single tide. So it's going to have to be just a bit of exploring, see what I can find out. So why don't we have a little walk along the beach? Okay, I've got my first shot in the bag already. I would have spoken to you about it as I was setting it up, but there's a tiny little break in the clouds and the sun was just peeking through and illuminating better the sea. Not sure how well it's going to come out in the picture, but anyway, I had to get the tripod out in a hurry, get it set up and take the picture. For the foreground interest, I spotted this little solitary rock in the sand, and as the waves were pulling out, it was leaving this nice textured pattern in the sand. So I thought it made for quite an interesting shot. So let's pop it up on the screen and see. Also, while I was here, I decided to get a second shot, and I did that just by moving the camera forward just a few feet, just to completely take the rock out of the composition at all and focus everything on that nice sand. My third shot, again, it's a retrospective discussion. As I was walking along the beach, I saw this big black boulder, and as the waves came crashing over the top of it and started to pull back out, we gave some nice white sort of foam went around the edges of the rock, gave me some nice leading lines. That was enhanced with a little bit of a long exposure because it's getting quite dark now. That gave me some nice lines on the beach that headed out to sea. One thing I should probably say at this point in time is those waves, they don't look particularly big, but they come up the beach really quickly and they bring a lot of water with them. So make sure you keep your bag on your back and keep hold of your camera gear. After I took that shot, I thought that's time to go home. But as I was walking back along the beach, I came across a spot that I'd previously walked by, but it had changed because the waves had been crashing in and it just made the scene look a little bit different. So I found another small rock, but the difference here was it had a little pool of water around it, and inside there was some white water, and the wind was kind of making it move around. And again, with the slightly longer exposure times, I thought that might make for an interesting picture. So let's see what that one looks like. As you can see, I'm back in the car for the outro. It is now dark outside. I've been shooting up to the last minute of light. Despite the grey and overcast day, I felt really inspired with my photography down at Sandymouth Beach today. Walking up and down the beach, looking for different patterns and rocks, and the way the tide was pulling out and creating sort of white lines around the objects on the beach was really interesting. And the other thing I found interesting was that the different parts of the beach, I visit 1 minute and then I come back maybe 10-15 minutes later and the tide had changed it, giving me a whole new fresh look on a composition. So it's been really good in terms of photography, and hopefully these images have inspired you to visit Sandymouth Beach as well. I'll see you in a bit. Good evening and welcome to a very windy Willcoats. So yes, I'm here on the Cornish coastline to photograph Willcoats Tin Mine there behind me. Now, I almost didn't come here today. The weather has been atrocious in the southwest. It's been chucking it down. There's been some sort of storms come through and it's been grey, overcast and wet. But for this spot, there was a prediction of a small break in the cloud. Now, I took a bit of a risk coming here. I honestly thought I was a bit mad. Driving along the A30, it was still chucking it down. It was all grey and overcast, and I thought I was mad. But now that I'm here, it is very windy, but there is a break in the cloud. I can see the sun, so I might just get some light to make a really nice photograph. So let me tell you why I'm here and what I'm going to shoot. So Willcoats Tin Mine is probably one of Cornwall's most famous mines. I think it's mostly to do with the location. As you can see, it's perched up here on the cliff edge above the sea there, giving it a really dramatic location. Now, I'm here about the end of August. Now, what makes this a popular location, particularly for photographers to come here, is there's lots of gorse and there's lots of heather. So that gives you lots of yellows and pinks and purples all across the ground here. It's a really good location. Now, if I get light from that setting sun across all the ground here, it should really lift all those great colours and hopefully illuminate the side of the tin mine here. Now, I think this is the engine room. Now, if you want to come down and find it, you park up at the Willcoats National Trust car park, you follow the path down past some of the other buildings, and you'll find the area down here. And then once you get down here, it's just a matter of walking about, looking about, seeing what you can find. There's lots of little paths about that cut through the gorse and cut through the heather. So it's really worth getting here a little bit earlier and having a good look about and trying to find a composition, which is exactly what I'm going to do now, because I'm running out of light and it does look like the sun might dip below that cloud, but let's give it a go and see what we can capture. Okay, so I've been having a little look about and trying to find a good composition. Some of the challenges with Willcoats is the fact that even though there is lots of gorse and lots of heather and lots of colour here, as I said earlier, you got to walk through all the paths, and sometimes that gives you some uneven and dirty ground, and also some of the bush and the vegetation can look quite unsightly and dead. So you've got to be really careful. So when you think you've got your composition set up, have a look around the edges of your frame, because just keep an eye out for anything that you might not want to be there. It is quite tricky to find a nice clear area, but sometimes you just got to do what you can and see what you can get a good image with. Now, the light is fading really fast here, so I'm going to have to work hard. The reason the sun was just disappearing behind the bank of cloud is there because there's a bank of cloud coming this way, and have a look out to sea. It looks like it's chucking it down, so I'm expecting to get a soaking any minute, so I'm going to have to work fast and get an image. I mean, that's just Cornwall for you. You know, you get all the seasons in one day, so even though it's summer. But that's what makes it exciting. So anyway, I'm going to crack on and take another image. So just a second ago I mentioned about that grey cloud that was coming in, probably bringing in the shower. It's actually, I think, going to work in my favour. As that cloud has come in, it's really darkened the sky up and added a bit of mood. So while I might not get some nice colour or some nice light from the sun on the colourful vegetation, I might get a dramatic sky instead. So again, with Cornwall, you just got to work with what it gives you. Okay, that's about it for me at Willcoats here. That kind of big bank of cloud did come in. Fortunately, it didn't rain. It's got windy. I don't know if you can see the camera shaking. So anyway, I managed to avoid a soaking, but what that has meant is the cloud has completely covered the sky. It's gone grey, flat, and completely uninteresting. So I don't think there's any more pictures here to have, and certainly not going to get a sunset. But saying all that, I still did enjoy coming here. It was, I think I got a little bit of interest just as the cloud was coming in. I think that made things a bit more interesting, but it was always going to be a risky decision coming here based on the weather forecast. But like I say, glad I did. And more importantly than that, I hope it's inspired you to come to Willcoats. So even if you don't come here in August when all the heather's out, it's a really spectacular coastal location to come and photograph, particularly with the tin mine there, and it's well worth just having a little look around the coastline in general as well. So I hope you've enjoyed it, but that's all for me here at Willcoats. I'll see you in a bit. Good evening and welcome to this absolutely spectacular Cornish coastal location, Godrevy Point. So yes, I'm here at Godrevy Point on the Cornish coast to take some dramatic coastal images this evening. Now, the first thing I need to do is probably apologise for my bad pronunciation. I did a previous video at Traverse Head last year and I got corrected on my bad pronunciation. Now, I'm not sure how you do Godrevy. I did try and look it up, but I couldn't get a clear answer, so apologies in advance. But if you do know the correct pronunciation, perhaps you can let me know in the comments below. But this evening, on the photography side of stuff, we're going to try and shoot the lighthouse. Probably going to form the part of most of my compositions tonight. Now, I've had a little look at the coast path, and there appears to be a few different places I can shoot it from, giving me different compositions. So I think the best thing to do is to take you along the coast path and we'll investigate some of these spots. So for my first location, I've come up onto the coast path. I'm up here on the cliff top, quite high up off the sea level, so it's going to be relatively easy to access if you come here too. So I've got a direct view onto the lighthouse, which I'm going to position somewhere in the sort of top left-hand third of my frame. And then I'm going to use the cliffs on the right-hand side, and they drop down into the sea and give me this sort of really cool looking ledge that pops out into the sea. And that's pretty well going to be my composition. I've got nothing too much in the foreground, so I'm just going to wait for a couple of waves to crash over. Not going to use a neutral density filter. I don't think I need to use a long exposure for this particular scene. So let's take the shot. So that's me got the shot from my first spot. I'm going to go down a bit closer to the water's edge to see what else I can find. And the sun is now starting to come up, so hopefully we're going to get some really good light. Okay, so I've come down from the cliff tops and I've walked down the stairs down to the rocky ledges here down at the water side. So I've checked the tides already. High tide's been and it's on its way out, so if you are coming down to this particular bit of Godrevy, just check the tides because the waves do come crashing in here. But I am going to use those crashing waves for this second composition. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different because it's not going to include the lighthouse. I found this kind of cove where the waves are crashing in over the rocks, and as they pull out, they're leaving some white water. I think it makes for a nice, interesting composition. Something a little bit different to shoot before I get the sunset shot. So I'm going to take that shot now. So I've got my shot here from my spot here, and I'm going to move along the coast a little bit towards the lighthouse so I can get a good shot. The sun is almost down, so I'm hoping to get some nice dramatic light for my final shot. So for my final spot here at Godrevy, I've come down much closer to the lighthouse, which you can see there just beside me, behind me I should say, and then I'm down on this rocky ledge here. Now the waves are come crashing in, like I said earlier, tide is going out, but you know, it can still be a little bit precarious here, so you've got to keep your eyes open. So if you're in any doubt, stick to the cliff top locations. There are lots of good spots along there to capture the lighthouse. But I've come down here hoping to capture a bit more drama. So I've got the lighthouse there behind me, I've got a bit of drama in the sky. I'm not going to get a good sunset I should say, but the clouds are quite interesting, and I've got the waves crashing in this little inlet bit here. So I'm going to get the camera all set up and let's see if we can capture a dramatic image. Well, that's me all finished here at Godrevy Point, and what a location it's been. I've really enjoyed my time here capturing some coastal images. Now, if you come here yourself, like I say, there is plenty of spots to shoot from, plenty of things to shoot, not just the lighthouse, either down here on the ledges or up there on the cliff top. So hopefully my pictures have come out well and they've inspired you to visit this great Cornish coastal location. I'll see you in a bit. Well, I do hope you enjoyed those 3 locations and it has inspired you to visit Cornwall and inspired your landscape photography. As you can see, the weather was typically Cornish for most of my visits, but hopefully that won't deter you, and from looking at the pictures and the videos, you can see that you can still get good photographs even in challenging conditions. Now, if you want to see a bit more information about these locations or see those images in a bit more detail, head on over to my blog. You'll find a link for that at the end screen of this video and also in the video description below. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned I'd give you access to a bonus 4th location video. So if you want to see that video, it's actually in the blog. So remember, the link for that is in the video description below and at the end screen. Also, if you're interested in more of my videos I've taken from Cornwall, including Boscastle where I am today, I've created a special playlist of all my Cornwall videos, and there'll be a link for that also in the video description and also at the end screen. Well, my time here in Cornwall is coming to an end, and so is this video. Now, if you did like this video, please do consider leaving me a comment. I do try and read and reply to everyone's comments. Perhaps you could let me know, is there another area in the southwest which I should do a similar video on? Is there perhaps a location in Cornwall that I've missed and you think I should go and visit and make a video on? Let me know in the comments below. But if you did like this video and you want to see more, please do click on that subscribe button. And if you do, or if you're already a subscriber, remember to click on that little bell icon. That way you'll receive a notification as soon as I post up a new video. But until the next one, I'll see you then.